gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Is in critical condition this morning. 4 others are wounded after a shooting in Atlanta's Mechanicsville neighborhood last night. Atlanta News First reporter Asia Wilson is live at Atlanta Police Headquarters. Asia, we got some new information in overnight from police. What can you tell us about this? 5 people shot.
Yeah, we now know that 4 of them were females and 1 male. Now we're still...
Wow. So 4 women shot, 1 male in what appears to be a large gathering in the community that I've been warning everyone about. And it turns into a mass shooting quickly because people refuse to heed the warnings that I have laid before them. In 2024, it's too dangerous to gather in large crowds in the community, and that's why you're seeing the results that we continue to cover on this channel.
Still working to learn their ages right now, but we do know 1 female was shot in the head. Now, Atlanta police say the others were shot in the leg. Now, this all happened on Richardson Street Southwest at an address we believe is called the City Views at Rosa Barnell Park Apartments. Now, it's down the street from a park where some neighbors say there was some sort of neighborhood gathering celebrating Mechanicsville Day, but later some started hanging out at the apartment complex, and as they were wrapping up, a woman says a car pulled up and several men hopped out and started shooting at the crowd.
It was just like, that's what I heard. It was gone. It was over with, y'all. So I was just standing right there. I had my plate in my hand. I was eating my fish. And then I just heard, and I just ducked in the breezeway.
And I just ducked in the breezeway. Lord have mercy. I mean, she's acting like it's a game. She's acting like it was all fun and she, survived the shooting and it was cool and it was lit. And this is the mindset and the attitude that the community has towards these shootings, so no wonder they continue to happen.
Now, at last check, that female who was shot in the head was in critical condition. Meanwhile, Atlanta police have not said who is all involved in this. They have also not released any details about any arrests in this particular case. We're live from Atlanta Police Headquarters. Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First.
Asia, thank you.
Atlanta police are also still working to find whoever is behind a mass shooting that injured 5 people during a gathering in the Mechanicsville community Saturday night.
Atlanta News First Asia Wilson is live near that area now. In Asia, people say they are fed up.
Yeah, one woman who runs a community resource center very close to where all of this happens says that she's tired of outsiders coming into their community, doing harm and causing all these crimes.
We give resources, they can come in and get daily bread.
Queen Evelyn has been running her nonprofit called Beautiful Closet Incorporated in the Windsor Street area in Atlanta's Mechanicsville community for nearly 5 years. But now she's packing up.
We are going to leave the plaza because this is a glass window and bullets can go through.
This after Atlanta police say 5 people were shot as some were gathered at an apartment complex Saturday night.
Yeah, everybody was just kicking it in the breezeway and they just pulled up and they just started shooting.
Witnesses claim a car allegedly pulled up. People got out of the car and started shooting into the crowd before driving off. A 29-year-old woman was shot in the head. Others were shot in the leg. Some of the victims include 15 and 16-year-old boys and a 17-year-old girl.
We praying for the recovery of all the victims, and we're also praying for the one that did these things.
Evelyn is a chaplain in the Mechanicsville neighborhood and helped with a community event that happened hours before.
We had a wonderful reunion, and the police did a great job with securing the area. Nothing happened at the reunion.
So the reunion was fine, but the after party is where it got rowdy. And that makes sense. If you don't have sufficient police presence, then you're not going to be able to control these situations.
All of this stuff happened after the reunion. So people come into our community and then they get to drinking these spirits and things.
Activists and others are now pleading for gun violence to end after seeing a number of shootings in their community. And now Evelyn has this message for those behind the crime.
You will be brought to justice and you will pay the price for what you're doing. God is opening up doors and windows that you can run but you can't hide.
Now, Evelyn says while she will leave the plaza, she will continue to be a resource in the community, but will likely now be mobile. Meanwhile, Atlanta police have not said if any arrests have been made, nor have they said who they are looking for. We're live this.
And we all know that the community knows who did this shooting. They're not giving it up because the street code is in full effect. And this is something that we have to watch out for and be cognizant of, because it's very upsetting and it's very sad that stories like this continue to happen, and the community doesn't want to step up and name the people who are making it so difficult for the rest of us to just lead normal lives.
This afternoon in Southwest Atlanta, Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First.
This morning, Atlanta police searching for the person who shot 5 people in Mechanicsville Saturday night.
Yeah, this happened on what was a day for celebration for the neighborhood, the community calling it Mechanicsville Day. 11 Alive's Liza Lucas, she joins us live outside of Grady Hospital this morning, where at last check, one victim was still in critical condition. Liza, what do police know this morning?
Good morning, Ariana. Good morning, Aisha. Yes, police are still very much working to figure out what led up to this shooting, with more updates promised to come. We're going to continue to monitor for that information. But we do know at this point that this is being investigated by the homicide unit because of how badly one young woman was injured. Now, the neighborhood members, meanwhile, tell 11 Alive that Mechanicsville Day.
So the woman who was shot in the head is on pretty much on her last stretch, and that's why the homicide unit is getting involved, because they believe that this woman is probably going to end up losing her life from this shooting. And this is in fact a mass shooting, and it's another one that we've seen come out of the community. That's why I continue to say the face of mass shootings in the United States unfortunately have become black men. And instead of addressing this issue, a lot of people want to dance around it, but in order to address it head on, you have to have group acknowledgement, then group accountability, which I have been preaching on this channel since day one.
Is intended to be like a reunion where residents old and new come together to celebrate. But for at least the second year in a row now, 11 Alive has covered that this day has ended in gun violence. We spoke with O.C. Fulford, whose 15-year-old son was there as a nearly 20-year resident in the community. When he showed up as a parent and heard this has happened, he was absolutely just holding his breath.
When you pull up to a scene about 1 minute after it occurred and you see sneakers, laying beside a car, and you call for your child and they don't answer the phone, a lot of things go over you.
Now, Fulford's son was ultimately okay, but Atlanta police do confirm that 2 teenage boys, a 17-year-old young woman, as well as 2 other women were shot. The community is also now planning an event tomorrow, Tuesday, a meeting in response to this latest violence. Sending it back to you.
Thank you, Liza. As we learn more about any suspects and the victims, we will bring you updates on 11alive.com.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
Atlanta police are looking for the person who shot 5 people. This happened in Mechanicsville Saturday night.
Yeah, this is what happened on a day of celebration for the neighborhood. The community calling it Mechanicsville Day. 11 Alive's Liza Lucas. She joins us live outside of Grady. Liza, have you been able to get any sort of update from police?
Well, we've continued to check in with police regarding this shooting. So far, all they're willing to tell us at this point is that this is an active and ongoing investigation. But meanwhile, as we have told you throughout the course of the day and over the weekend, the community is really reeling from this and wondering how another major shooting could result from what's supposed to be a celebration.
I was shocked. I felt like the community has worked so hard to bring violence down in the community.
Shock and sadness following a shooting Saturday in Atlanta's Mechanicsville neighborhood that injured 5 people. Violence following what's supposed to be a celebration for neighbors.
It's like a reunion. People that lived in the community for many years will come back.
Mechanicsville Civic Association President Dr. David Holder describes Mechanicsville Day as a time where neighbors past and present come together. But on
so these large gatherings that don't necessarily get permits and don't necessarily get the correct security for the after party seems to be the issue. Now, it looks like the initial gathering was relatively peaceful, but when they took the party to another venue, that's when it got hot.
Saturday, the sentiment behind that tradition spoiled after shots rang out after the event ended. Atlanta police responding to Windsor Street around 10 p.m., finding 2 teen boys injured as well as a 17-year-old girl and 2 women also hurt by gunfire. One of the women rushed to the hospital in critical condition.
My son was out there when it all happened, and he just started running with his friends.
O.C. Fulford's 15-year-old son turned out to be safe, but history keeps repeating itself. Last year on September 9th, 3 people were also shot near Windsor Street following an event described by the community as Mechanicsville Day as well. Holder says there's a loophole that allows large gatherings at the park without community approval. And he wants city leaders involved to help stop the violence.
There's always some bad actors, and a lot of times it's always youth from the outside that are coming over and disrupting the community.
So they love to say youth from the outside, but at the end of the day, these are all young black men who are doing these shootings. So they're not really from the outside because they're within our community.
I have also reached out to the head of the Public Safety Committee, Council Member Andrea Boone, to see if this will come up during today's 1 o'clock committee meeting. We'll be sure to follow the latest on air and online and bring you that, as well as updates as we continue to follow this story. There's going to be a separate community meeting also held tomorrow in response to everything transpired over the weekend. Live at Grady, Liza Lucas, 11 Alive News.
Atlanta police are searching for the person who shot 5 people in Mechanicsville Saturday night.
Yeah, this happened on what was a day of celebration for the neighborhood. The community calling it Mechanicsville Day. 11 Alive's Liza Lucas. She joins us live outside of Grady Hospital. Liza, what do you know right now?
Good afternoon. Yes, we have followed up with police asking them about suspects, arrests, and how the young woman who was seriously injured in that shooting is doing. So far, all that Atlanta police are telling us at this time is that the investigation is active and ongoing. Meanwhile, this Atlanta community is really trying to make sense of how another shooting could follow what is supposed to be a neighborhood celebration.
I was shocked. I felt like the community has worked so hard to bring violence down in the community.
Shock and sadness following a shooting Saturday in Atlanta's Mechanicsville neighborhood that injured 5 people. Violence following what's supposed to be a celebration for neighbors.
It's like a reunion. People that lived in the community for many years will come back.
Mechanicsville Civic Association President Dr. David Holder describes Mechanicsville Day as a time where neighbors past and present come together. But on Saturday, the sentiment behind that tradition spoiled after shots rang out after the event ended. Atlanta police responding to Windsor Street around 10 p.m., finding 2 teen boys injured as well as a 17-year-old girl and 2 women also hurt by gunfire. One of the women rushed to the hospital in critical condition.
My son was out there when it all happened, and he just started running with his friends.
O.C. Fulford's 15-year-old son turned out to be safe, but history keeps repeating itself. Last year on September 9th, 3 people were also shot near Windsor Street following an event described by the community as Mechanicsville Day as well. Holder says there's a loophole that allows large gatherings at the park without community approval, and he wants city leaders involved to help stop the violence.
There's always some bad actors, and a lot of times it's always youth from the outside that are coming over and disrupting the community.
We're going to continue to follow this. Meanwhile, Living Alive has covered multiple shootings in the Mechanicsville area over the past year, including reporting on one shooting just last Thursday where a woman was shot and injured. We'll continue to bring the latest on air and online as this police investigation continues. Live at Grady, Liza Lucas, 11 Alive News.
Atlanta neighborhood still trying to make sense of how a celebration turned into a major shooting yet again. Welcome to 11 Alive News tonight. I'm Ron Jones.
And I'm Jennifer Bellamy. 5 people were hit with bullets Saturday at the violent end of what's being called Mechanicsville Day. And tonight, police still searching for who fired the shots.
11 Alive's Teresa Bowles is live at Atlanta Police Headquarters. So Teresa, how is the community dealing with all of this?
Well, the neighborhood tells me Mechanicsville Day is supposed to be a reunion, a time where Mechanicsville residents, past and present, can get together to celebrate. However, neighbors tell me they're disappointed and also not surprised that the event ended in gun violence.
Mechanicsville Day, a tradition likely for decades.
It used to be an event where there was a parade in the morning with high school kids, and the whole event ended about 7 o'clock.
These days, Mechanicsville Civic Association President Dr. David Holder describes it as more like a block party that creeps later into the night than it should.
There's always some kind of string to the Mechanicsville Day, and people coming out want to do drive-by and shootings.
And history keeps repeating itself. It happened last year when 3 people were shot near Windsor Street. Then Saturday, the violence grew to 5 people shot near that same street.
There's always youth from the outside that are coming over and disrupting the community.
Odysse Fulford's 15-year-old son was there. As a nearly 20-year resident, when he showed up, he held his breath.
You see sneakers, laying beside a car. You reach call for your child and they don't answer the phone. A lot of things go over you.
Fulford's son is fine, but Atlanta police confirm 3 teens and 2 women were shot. I did a story on violence in Mechanicsville last summer, counting 5 shootings. Since then, there have been 5 more. Holder says since the community built this place, it should have a say in who parties there.
There's a loophole in the legislation, and it allows large gatherings to be at the park without getting the community approval.
Holder wants city leaders to get involved to stop the pattern so a community can take control and change the course of its own history.
I spoke to a person claiming to be a family member of the woman shot last night, and they're asking for privacy as emotions are really high.
You know, Teresa and organizers say the party was officially over before the shooting took place. So what are we hearing about who actually pulled the trigger?
So Ricky Dip Usher, who's an organizer, he posted a statement on Instagram saying that the event was over for an hour when unknown individuals showed up, drove by, and opened fire. So community organizers are now working together to make sure that those victims have the support they need. And live in Atlanta, Teresa Bowles, 11 Alive News.
All right, Teresa, and hopefully someone will come forward. By the way, the community is now planning a meeting on Tuesday to talk about the violence we just heard about concerning an earlier curfew for gatherings.
Gang violence and other kind of violence. So it is what it is.